Michael Burry disclosed his Tesla short around 416, and within hours we see that someone else who knows what them or their books are, $11.3 million in calls. Well, the stock was only trading around 421. The first trade that hits the tape yesterday is the August 21st 490 call, 51 days out, about 17% out of the money, 6.1 million in premium. A second tranche hits November 20th $600 call for 142 days out, about 43% out of the money for about 5.2 million in premium there. So far out of the money trades, upside bets going into two specific catalysts for the stock. Tesla deliveries are coming out tomorrow, and we have Q2 earnings out later this month. I think the important part of this is volatility here, because Tesla's a really unique instrument. I know that their IV was only 47 to 51% on these trades, which for most stocks is going to sound expensive. If you head over to pick a consumer staple, for example, or a healthcare stock, a PepsiCo or a Johnson & Johnson, those would be incredibly high raw volatilities. But for Tesla, it's actually fairly calm, considering that we have these catalysts coming up around the corner, including the delivery number tomorrow. So with both of these catalysts sitting within the expiration window for these trades, you have a trader here who's clearly expressing a view that they need upside, or they want upside out of this catalyst window, and they're willing to pay for it. That is enough of a trade there to think about. But the Michael Burry one is perhaps more interesting, gentlemen, because unlike everyone else here, when we talk about this unusual options activity, Michael Burry discloses his things through official forms that are filed with government regulators. He puts out his 13F and the various positioning statements, as it were. So with him, we can see if he's actually long a company like ARM or Tesla when he's putting on these option trades. He's not. Michael Burry's just getting bearish here. And so here you have a known bear, a notable person who's in the market, who's made his bread and butter shorting companies into oblivion, and he's starting to take out a position right now. So that's a pure directional bet. Jamal, this is my issue with treating the Michael Burry news as a signal. What has he been right about substantially in recent years?
Right.
When he's made bets against some of these bubble names, he's been run out of town. And that is one of the issues that as for a fundamentalist, I feel like that's the wrong way to put it. You have quants, you have technicians, maybe you have fundamentalists. But for a fundamentalist, the market can stay out of whack longer than whatever, formula or model that you can put together that says the valuations are wrong, that the price isn't right. So I caution anyone from following someone like Michael Burry into any given trade. He's obviously a brilliant investor. He's made a lot of money, a lot more money than any of us here have over the years. But the way he structures his capital, he doesn't act like a retail trader. He acts like an individual hedge fund. And so I don't know if there's anything to copy there. I don't know if there's any information there. Look at his track record recently for trying to call tops in names like Tesla or ARM. It's not good in the past 3 or 4 years.
It's not, and I think that's exactly the point. Following people like this, I mean, first of all, they have deep pockets. They have access to a lot of capital, so they're able to put on a lot of different positions. These are the ones that just get sensationalized for whatever different reason, right? Specifically, names that I think are in the zeitgeist, if you will, right now. These are the hot names, if you will. And so they just get publicized more. But I caution anybody against following them. I mean, if it fits your thesis, that's different. I mean, the fact that he's
right.
long Microsoft, I'm already long Microsoft. Great, let's go. You know what I mean? But I'm not putting on that trade just because he's long. I'm putting it on because I see value. So I think that's the thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. I think when it comes down to picking sides, you're going to have everyone in your ear saying bullish, bearish, neutral, whatever. But I think it all comes down to the strategy. And as long as your strategy is sound, and you have some kind of cost basis reducing factor, high probability component, it's going to be better off than just going willy-nilly with short-term long option buys. Although his is longer term, and the one we just looked at with August is still decently long. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it's always interesting to look at the flows and see what's going on under the hood.
Yeah, and speaking of the ARM side of the trade, the calls that they put on expire on July 24th. Their earnings are July 27th. So with the Tesla buyer out here, they're saying, I want the catalyst within my expiration window. I want the deliveries. I want the Tesla earnings. Those will help push up the price to where my strikes are. For the ARM trade, this is about a run up into earnings, right? You're betting on pre-earnings momentum carrying you to the heights that you need to get to. The trade expires before the actual event risk. So this is, a very specific read on the tape. There's someone who's saying like, this thing's going to go up. It's going to go up soon. When you look at Tesla vol, I think it's pretty calm. When you look at ARM vol, it's actually quite loud going into this pre-earnings window. So if you think that ARM has already sprinted too far and the options are too rich, then that 96 implied volatility is where your premium selling argument probably lives right now between those two names. But when we think about this moving forward, right, you have two catalysts here. You have Tesla shrinking fundamentals. You have ARM with explosive momentum. Burry staking out of position. Earnings are coming up later this month for both. Guys, I try not to copy any traders out in the market like this right now, but I think there is an important point to be understood that Tesla is not a normal stock. Yes, it's a 47 to 51 IV, but that is light. That is pebbles for a name like Tesla, given how it's traded in recent years. Treat each stock as its own individual stock. No rules that fly across the board, so to speak, particularly in these meme names.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll add is that we highlight these flows just to talk about the names, talk about flows, talk about the idea behind the trade, but also one thing that we don't highlight because we don't have the information is trade management. We're not sure. We don't know how they're managing this trade. Sure, they put on long calls. We don't know that tomorrow they could go out and buy 500 puts that don't necessarily hit the tape because that's not a big trade, but it does help small hedges. It helps a small hedge to trade in a small way. So we don't know.
Yeah, we'll see how these things perform. We'll keep it in the back of our mind here, but yeah, buying options pre-earnings, not something that I want to do. I would rather just put it in the earnings cycle, get that extra extrinsic value, and you know that extrinsic value is going to stay. But that's something that you would only learn watching the show. But thank you, Chris. Appreciate your time. We'll check out those names as the market gets closer to the open here in about 25 minutes.